All right. All right, guys. So, what's going on? I got my man Ethan here, but I'll let him introduce himself. I want to get into Ethan, where you are, where you're located, how old you are, kind of stuff like that. And then, yeah, let's get into trading.
Awesome. Well, my name is Ethan. I'm originally from the Seattle, Washington area. I'm living right now in Provo, Utah. All my siblings are here going to the Brigham Young University. I'm 21. I think I might be the youngest student you have. I was asking some other people before, which is
No,
really great that I discovered the market. No, no,
no,
that's
no.
cool. That's cool.
I mean,
That's really
I've had a lot of people grow up. Like since
geez. I mean like the youngest student right now, like in the gold case and stuff like that.
oh yeah, 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 possibly. I don't know. I'm not sure. But go on. Sorry.
That's so cool. Basically, I'm very lucky to have discovered Nehemiah Douglas and the Market Makers this early on in my life. Um, so yeah, I mean that's just my introduction. I've
Okay.
also
So let's kind of get into like how long has it been since you like found me, and you know where'd you kind of meet, where did we meet, because I'm sure that people want to know.
yeah, so I discovered Nehemiah through Ty Lopez. A lot of people seem to have. And so I was like 18 or 19 when I first heard about Nehemiah. Yeah. And I was like, this guy's kind of cool. I've always been interested in trading, but frankly, my parents have always squashed that. I was put on the college corporate America route, but I never really wanted that because I'm such a fiercely independent person. I just love to work for myself. And so as I was exploring like what it means to be an entrepreneur in these days, that's where I just ran into Nehemiah Douglas when I was 18 or 19. And so I bought his Fortune Factory 3.0 course, fantastic course. It was very, very simple. It was like two impulsive candles, pull the trigger, top or bottom. It was awesome. But
Throwback.
yeah, exactly. But it would really started to what really impressed me was the mindset of the contrarianism of going against what most traders did and the market makers and all that. I thought that was really revelatory. And then I went on a 2-year mission for my church. It was an amazing experience. And so I came back and I've been back for about 6 months. And literally the second day I got back, because I made it my mind, I said, I'm going to become a world-class trader. I will. I want to make a very good living doing it. This is going to be my start of my business career. And so I did some research, found out there's a 4.0. I was so excited. I was like, let's go, baby. Immediately pulled the trigger on their 4.0. And then so yeah, it's basically been like 6 months. Oh yeah, I made some money before I left on the mission in 2019. So I had been studying like for like a couple months, did some demoing, and then I opened up a live account, just dropped my own money into account, and I made a good like $200 in a week. I remember it was like 1 week, and I was like, that's not bad at all. I was comparing, all my friends do minimum wage stuff. I was like, I can match that, and
Yeah.
I'm in a way better place than McDonald's.
It's not bad when you're just sitting, on your butt and looking at a couple charts.
Right. And the thing that I discovered, I'm glad that I experimented with it before because I discovered that I really, really loved it. I love the probability, the statistics, the math and science behind the markets, and I just thought it was such a thrill. I've always been into like investing in that kind of space of like
Yeah,
being
like
able to invest and trade.
let's kind of get into that, like, because the people are always interested. They're like, well, I see his results, but what was his experience? Like, did he have a lot of money, or did he have a lot of knowledge in this? So like, what was kind of like your experience coming into? You said you got in at the 3.0 program. So like, when you came into the 3.0, where you at, like, with investing and day trading in particular?
Hmm. Yeah, so I've been studying like the Warren Buffett kind of investing philosophy and the statistics, and I was thinking about trading and I was investigating a little into it, but basically I just discovered that the conventional trading community kind of sucked. Like I just kept watching what they're doing, studying what they were doing for a good like the second half of my senior year. And I just kept thinking that what they're saying doesn't make that much sense. And I just like I hadn't put any real money at this point because I wanted to make sure the this whatever I was following was profitable, and it just wasn't. I never found anything that was really good. And so I was like, well, maybe I don't know. Is there anyone that's good at trading? Because it seems like there are, but maybe only like in hedge funds. Because these retail traders, like I don't know if I should call out any names, but
Yeah,
um,
it doesn't matter. We'll
baby
go.
pips, all that
Oh
stuff.
yeah, yeah, baby pips. Okay, that I thought you were talking about people. If
No, no,
it's
no, not
brands
not
like,
individuals. I don't know any of the individuals.
okay, then yeah, brands they all suck.
Yeah, they all suck. No, it's I was like, with this is terrible. And also traders are often weird people, let's be honest.
Yeah, very
And then
true.
yeah, then I ran into the market maker movement, and when I just heard about it, it just clicked. In terms of funds, I had a couple grand saved up. It wasn't like 5, 6, 7. It wasn't an enormous amount, but it wasn't a small amount either for 18, 19. It's not bad. Just worked. I've always just worked since I was 12.
Yeah.
I've always just packed away money. So
Okay. Nice. So like, would you say like, scale of 1 to 10, like where do you feel like you were at, um, in terms of like experience before finding my program?
0.5. Yeah, I mean, I just was watching their stuff like this is just dumb. So
Yeah. Okay. So
it's all
you had never actually traded. You had more like read up on stuff. You were kind of interested, but you had
hmm
never actually taken a trade or anything like that.
I might have put a demo account here and there. I can't remember, but I was like kind of back testing, like looking at the charts and running through in my head. Um, and it just like it was left me kind of unsatisfied.
Okay. Got
So
you.
I might have on the demo. I can't remember. Probably not.
Okay. Okay. So let's kind of get into like, the shift then. You found market makers, you found 3.0. Obviously 4.0 has been released about a year now. So tons of results coming in since then. But like let's get into your individual results and then we'll get into kind of like gold in particular as well. So like, let's talk Forex just real quick fast. And then it seems like, from what you've shared with me, we'll get into the story, but like seems like from what you shared with me, you really had the shift once you made the change to gold and like US
hmm
30 as well. US 30 is
Not as much.
not as
No,
much, mainly gold or
mainly gold. Yeah.
okay. So yeah, let's get into it. Like let's talk quick fast Forex and then let's get into gold.
Sweet. So fast Forex. So Forex is very interesting. I almost so I like gold a lot better. Just jumping ahead a little bit, but Forex was great. So like I said in 2019, I like 9 out of 10 trades I won. Rather, it was like I literally only took 10 trades,
That
and
that
nine
was
of them were
before you went overseas, right?
yes. I didn't go overseas, but
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
That was 3.0. 4.0 was absolutely fantastic. I loved the everything that was put in there. But I struggled a little bit because my psychology, I wasn't aware of my psychology. That was the key. All the tactics and stuff made perfect sense, and it was a little more complicated in 3.0, but it's not that complicated. It doesn't take a bachelor's degree or anything.
Yeah.
And so I did pretty well. I did pretty well, but it was just not as much as I wanted to, because I feel like I kept self-sabotaging myself a little bit. And then I read something by Grant Cardone. He talked about how the people you're around really influence your psychology. And I was still because I just came back from my mission,
Mhm.
and I was just living with my parents temporarily before, and I wanted to get out somewhere, and I realized like they were not a very good influence on me because they were very negative about the entire thing. They're also incredibly high strung conservative people. So risk is something they're like
Yeah.
that's a very negative word. And so I feel like I was getting infected by that. And I was like, I just got to get out of here.
It's crazy. I want to chime in there. Like,
Uh-huh.
I think that that's one thing that a lot of people underestimate when they step into a trading career is that like you've got so many other beliefs that you're
Right.
fighting up against, and trading is like a whole new language that you're learning. You know, it's a whole
Yes.
new set of beliefs that you're learning about money. So like, you know, if you come from any type of background where, you know, your parents or people around you were negative, or they come from a certain, you know, economic class, like it can be hard to break those beliefs stepping into this. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. You know, I just want to you know, throw that to any of the viewers, really.
Absolutely, and I'm glad it's not just me who struggle with that. And I'm still breaking out of it, but it's gotten a lot better as I've been aware of it mainly, and as Nemo's been tutoring me. It's just been fantastic. You really helped pull me out of it and made me aware, and just been an amazing teacher, absolutely incredible teacher. Yeah, and so and frankly, and fortunately, not frankly, fortunately, I've always been pretty independent from my parents. Like I've always been aware that I didn't want that kind of life, and so I needed a vehicle, and so the gold case study was my vehicle for finding, like, really being aware of my mindset psychology and really just shattering it and applying it to something that I can really enjoy. Because gold is not just a skill. I think it's something you said. It's not just skill, but it's also kind of a thrill because of the pace of it. But
Yeah.
it's just an it's been an amazing journey the last 6 8 weeks.
Okay. So, okay, you said that like goal was kind of like your community aspect in a sense
Hmm.
to like, you know, kind of break any past beliefs. So like let's get into it. I mean, like you know, this prop trading stuff, like I want to put it on record, like it's completely new to me. I remember when it first started popping up, I think it was FTMO was the first one that I
Yeah, they're
saw pop
massive.
up. Yeah, it popped up around like 2017 or something like that. But you know, I've never act like I've been peeping game now, like since I got guys like you and stuff that, you know, are actually getting funded and you know, taking on these challenges. But like for those that are asking like Nemo's opinion, you know, I still have a very limited perspective. But you know, maybe Ethan, you could kind of share, like, you know, it sounds like you're doing all right with them right now, but let's kind of dive into like, you know, the results super quick. Like you got funded, how much, and then kind of like leading up to that, like the strategy and stuff that like helped you get
Yeah, so pr prop firms is short for proprietary trading. So you have these firms, and it's an interesting business model. You sign up and you pass. Usually, you have to pass an evaluation. There's a bunch out there. Some are not as good as others. Some are pretty scammy. So you have to be careful. There's a lot of websites reviewing them. And the big ones seem to be pretty safe. And basically, you like make a certain percentage per month on a demo account. There's certain rules, like consistency rules, drawdown rules you have to follow, and then they'll give you a certain amount of capital, and you keep a percentage of it. So the idea is you get more than what you actually have in your own bank account, and you'd pay an upfront fee. Some people charge a monthly fee. It's a very interesting thing. So I jumped into prop firms almost immediately, and I actually wish I didn't, because basically I'm an ambitious person, and I was like, okay, I want to go for the big guns, and so I went for a prop firm like a couple weeks after I really started actually studying again 6 months ago. And so I signed up with a prop firm, and every time you buy, and I went for the hardest challenge. I
there?
grossly overestimated my
Just kind of
abilities.
put too much pressure on yourself, or
Yes, exactly. I totally did. I wasn't patient enough. I was not patient enough with the skill, because I just remember thinking in 2019 that wasn't that hard. That's all I could think about.
yeah, yeah.
It was, but I just totally just. I also kind of I wasn't thinking about that I did spend quite a bit of hours on a demo account, and I was careful, and so I wasn't as careful this time around. I wasn't. And so and so every time you buy a challenge account, there's one firm I did, you forgot $600, and so I didn't pass the challenge. And so I was like, and I'm a persistent person, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And that, unfortunately, I'm blessed that I had enough savings I can live off of, and so I can and do this. And so another $600 basically. And so that cycle kind of repeated, and it turned into kind of a negative psychological cycle because I wasn't ready for the challenge, but I was like, I'm just gonna keep doing it until I pass it. But then that consistent, even though like I was winning a lot of trades, it wasn't enough because it didn't have the skill and the mindset to actually pass the full challenge, which is 8% in a month, and then 4% in 2 months, just for consistency reasons. It doesn't sound that bad, but when you're brand new and you're looking at $100,000 and they have drawdown, the drawdown requirements killed me a number of times. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so,
So
mhm.
you got funded how much?
So right now I've been funded $100,000, and I keep about a quarter of the profits.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, and it's
Congratulations.
thank you. It's great. It's great. I feel like, I don't know, if I was going to give a new trader advice about proprietary firm, do a bunch of research. It can be a great thing for a lot of traders, and I think more traders probably should look into it that aren't. A lot of them should. Everyone should at least look into it and give it some thought, but only do it if have you spent some time with real money or on a demo account, like some time, because you're committing your fee, like your capital to it, so you got to
Yeah.
have some experience. Yeah.
Okay. So like let's get into the experience. So you've got $100,000 now. Like that's
Hmm.
awesome. Like, like now you can really start to scale. And as long as you take good care of that, that money, like you're gonna be able to
Right.
scale that to, infinite amounts really.
Right.
So like let's talk about the experience though. Like, you hopped into my gold case study. So like
Hmm.
for those that don't know, I am working on a new trading program that is specifically on gold because I don't trade Forex as much anymore. It's been about a year that I kind of stopped trading Forex. And I've been focused on gold and it's become my baby. And I did tons and tons of back testing before I felt ready to actually share my strategies within gold. And Ethan was one of the few that hopped into the gold case study. So
One
let's
of the
kind
lucky
of
few.
let's dive into it then. Let's talk about your experience with maybe kind of give people like an overview and just from your own perspective.
Yeah, so it was a 4 to 6 week. I think we went like almost 7 weeks. We went a little bit longer, I think, if I remember
Mhm.
correctly.
Yeah.
Case study where we hopped on Zoom just like 3 times a week, sometimes more, because we got in the morning too, just at a community time when everyone could in the evening. And we would just, and it was like Nemo walking us through what he's been doing, his analysis. We were doing like, he was doing drills with us, like marking up our charts, watching the replays, and he just taught us everything. And I wasn't sure about signing up at first when I saw the price, even though, I mean, it's a very fair price. I was like, I don't know if this is a stretch for me right now, but I essentially signed up for it. It felt like almost one-on-one tutoring, because we were encouraged to ask questions, and then on an hour Zoom call, there's plenty of time to ask questions to one's heart's content. So it was and so I was like, this is worth it. This is fantastic. And it was just absolutely incredible because all the trades we took together, there was just so much opportunity to build confidence, to see how it works, not just in theory, but actually watch how it works. That was incredible. And be able to hear your insight and hear your analysis live, real time, and occasionally being like, yo, I wasn't correct. That's fantastic for a young trader like me to see that it's okay, and I think probably important to acknowledge when something just didn't go right, because America's aren't perfect. But that was a minority. I need to acknowledge that was only a few times. And it was just a fantastic. And also talking about other traders too. Having other traders on was pretty cool, seeing their
Right.
successes and talking to them.
Right. The group.
Hmm.
So, okay, so let's, you took on one of these prop challenges with, my strategies. So like, what has it kind of been like with, your trading results? Like, are you crushing it? Like, because you obviously have strict, rules that you have to go by, which, I understand kind of like the gist of it, but I know that
Hmm.
there's different rules for each prop firm.
Right.
So how has your experience been trading gold, with my strategies with, these prop firms?
Well,
How's your
gold
thinking?
Yeah. Well, gold
Obviously
is
you have some, but like, how is your consistency?
right, right. Well, gold is interesting because there isn't as much drawdown as Forex is most of the time. Basically, it was so much easier to pass the challenge on gold than it was foreign exchange trading currencies. Gold was just, I was like, oh my gosh, like the potential for money and percentage growth. So like not just money, but percentages and on gold is just unreal. I was like, what in the world is this? It was amazing. So basically, I cruised through the 8% in a month. I did it. I did it in 2 weeks. I was like, what? What? 2, 3 weeks, which is awesome. Because with
How
gold,
many
basically,
trades
I
do
was
you think
averaging.
you? How many? Sorry. How many trades do you think you took
Mhm.
within that 2 week time? Just to grab that quick little 8%.
Yeah. My guess is probably one a day. It came out to.
Okay.
Sometimes we took like two. I think maybe it wasn't that many. It wasn't that
That
many. I don't
that's
think.
not that makes sense because I mean, there's only really 4-ish days in the market, so that
Right.
makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It was plenty enough because the cool thing about the gold with also one thing you teach and everyone needs to hear about this is the proper lot size. And with the proper lot size, like not being over leveraged but not being under leveraged, the proper lot size. Um, I mean, I was making like a percent, basically a percent every winning trade, which was 7 out of 10 trades. So you just do the math right there. Didn't take too long.
Right.
Just clockwork. It just felt like clockwork, man. Gold, it seemed so predictable with you at the helm.
Nah, I appreciate that. So okay, so all right, so you're saying like, because I'm really honing in on these gold strategies because
Yeah,
I know my results, but I know that like I definitely want people to know that this gold training is whatever I release. I don't know if it's going to be like a booklet with videos or just videos. I don't know, but what I do when I do release it, it's going to be freaking incredible. So I hope that the anticipation is there. But like I want you guys,
always there.
yeah, like I want you guys to kind of hear, or like the viewers to kind of hear like, what's like like where are you at with it? Like you said 7 out of 10, but like what does that like really mean? Like, are you really stepping into your chart, knowing exactly what to do? Like what's your experience?
That's a good question. And there was a personal obstacle with gold is it's a lot scarier than Forex because the volume is just so much higher, the momentum is so much higher than Forex. And so I had to basically and over time you help walk me through and you know take chances more, but with the goal because it is a little scarier. Um, but once I started basically taking the trade and just simply thinking to myself, I literally wrote down all the rules the guidelines, principles we've ever talked about, and and I would just see the analysis of look like just this morning. This morning, I on 4 hours of sleep, I woke up like at 6 o'clock my time, 6 a.m. I went to bed really late last night.
Mhm.
Um, and I just like I literally rolled out of bed, opened my phone because my roommate was still sleeping, so I didn't want to open my bright laptop in the office. And that's too easy to take it downstairs. And so opening the phone on TradingView, I opened it up and I immediately saw a setup. Immediately, like the train just kicked in because it's consistent, simple principle, right? There's only like I remember you mentioned one time in the train. There's only a couple setups that we look for, and I just did the replay on the phone, and I saw where the momentum was, I saw where the structure, and I was like, I know where it's going, I know where it's going, and that was a nice win. So it did exactly what I anticipated. So um,
Awesome.
that's a long explanation, but my experience is that when I just focus on on just the principles we've been learning and the setups and building that courage over time that comes from experience, it's it's just like clockwork.
Do you feel like, because for people that are watching this, they're gonna say everyone's watching this that says, hey, that sounds great. I want to do that, but I want to do it in half the time. So like, what would you say, like, to combat that, that fear, what I'm saying? Like, what would you say to those traders that, they want to get funded from, one of these prop firms, or they want to maybe trade their own money. Sorry, they want to trade their own money successfully. What would you say to those guys if they're just stepping into this, and they're going to step into the same problems that you have?
So are you saying that they're coming in with a lot of impatience and a lot of that they just want to get the result, right?
Yeah, like what would you say to like your past self? If
Yeah,
because chances are they're going to be in your same shoes.
right, right. They're young, they're hungry, and it's a lot of, and they're seeing all the wins and like, I want those wins. Well, you know, the material itself, you might read the strategy and be like, this is really simple. But with the added pressure of when you actually have capital at stake, it's either really early or really late or something, and it's going crazy or it goes against you. You add all those factors in and the emotions, and it's so much more of a muscle and a skill than I initially realized. And just like any muscle, if you want it to be
Strong.
healthy and strong and efficient and productive, you want to take the time to do it right and to take the time to put in the reps in the with the right amount of weight. You don't go into a gym and you start and benching 250 pounds when you haven't gone in a year. You're gonna pull a muscle basically. So think of it like that. Think of it like that. And what also helped me kind of cool my jets a little bit was to remember my long-term plan. This is a lifelong skill. I remember you talking about that too many times. This is a lifelong skill that no one can take away from us. It's like a superpower if one masters this. So when you look at a perspective of an entire lifetime, or 20 years of doing this, like, hey, this is going to be something I'm going to be doing for a long, for conceivably a long time, for maybe like half or most of my career, then that makes it a little easier. And like when you remove those deadlines and that we impose on ourselves for no reason, like I got to get this in 6 months because of XXX, you got to remove those deadlines. You got to remove it and take it as fast as your skill is. And at the end of the day, you could tell who a good trader is if they're consistent.
Right.
And consistency is
I think in
consistent
other
traders.
words, this is not a side hustle.
Right.
Right? It
Yes,
can
that's
be
a very good way to put it.
it can be treated as a side hustle once you have the skill.
Right.
But when
Exactly.
okay, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of an example, but this is one of those skills. Like, okay, LeBron, he was the first person that came to mind, right? LeBron, he has to continue to play at a higher and higher intensity, right? To prove his skill, even though he's shot the same shot a million times, right? Like, this is one of those skills that, like, once you've shot the same shot a million times, you actually get to kick back. But the thing that people don't realize is you got to shoot those million shots, and you still got to shoot them with the same accuracy. You can't shoot them sloppily. You got to actually shoot them hoping to, make the bucket. Um, so no, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because a lot of people come into this and they say, well, that's simple. He made, he got $100,000 in, like a month, pretty much. Or how long was it, like, total?
Month and a half. Yeah.
Month and a half. Yeah. Like, so,
Basically, yeah, the length of the case study.
okay, cool. So like you get $100,000 in 6 weeks. Like, people are going to be like, wow, that seems so simple, especially when they go through the training. They're like, wow, this is really simple. But
Right.
they,
It's a little deceptive sometimes.
yeah, you still gotta take those million shots. Like, even if you're making them, like, it doesn't mean that you're LeBron yet. Like, you can be him. You just gotta keep shooting. So no, dude,
No,
I'm no, go ahead, go ahead.
and also the with the stress that comes with trading, it's a different psychology mindset that we're used to. It's a skill to be able to perform and think logically under pressure. And we have a lot of cognitive biases, and we're not very logical people inherently as like a human race. And so it takes time to develop that mechanism to be able to trade logically under enormous amounts of pressure and stress, right? Like
Under
trading.
emotions. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's so essential. And that only comes with time and repetition. And often that, like, in order for us to start getting that ball rolling of that skill, we have to depressure ourselves with our own expectations of time and stuff. So like when I was like, I got to get it by this time, this date, that just added more pressure into an already pressured mind when it didn't even yet have the skill to quite handle the pressure. So you see how that doesn't help anything. And
Bro.
so when you're in the early stages, I would say to my former self, you're in the you're in the really early. I mean, I haven't been doing it that long still, but you're in the beginning stages. You got to depressure everything as much as possible before you even do it, because otherwise it's too much for your skill level. That's all I got.
Dude, I'm so happy for you, man. Like, honestly, for those that are wondering, like, Ethan put in the work. Like, he showed up for every session. He asked every question he could. Like, he put in the work. He deserves this $100,000. And I hope, brother, like, you go ahead and keep scaling it. You know, you scale
Mm,
it 200, 300,000 plus percent. Keep getting more funding to the point where you don't even need them anymore.
exactly.
And dude, just keep going, because like this, I think that this is just the beginning. Like they say, once you get that
Exactly.
first 100,000, like everything is like I can admit this, like 100,000, like once you get that first 100,000, like it just goes up from there, brother. So congratulations. Anything that you want to say last minute to the people watching?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much, Nehemiah. By the way, like I took this seriously. I can honestly say that. And because I took this seriously, like I treated it like I was a professional. Like if because you raise a really good point about a side hustle. I deliberately thought about this as like this is not only my full-time job, I've committed to this. And so what I would say to these people who wanna, and I encourage everyone to buy your gold course that can, because it's going to be, I know it's going to be fantastic. I know it's going to be, or at least your 4.0 or both. Probably both would be great. Let's be honest. But you got to take it seriously. You got to commit, because once you commit to it, it's like you commit first and then you figure it out as you go. But you got to put in the work. It takes a lot of energy, more than I mean, people have this idea of trading. It's these expectations we bring to the table of trading is like this incredibly easy, luxurious profession where you're on a beach and you're like thousand. It's a job. It's a job. But you got to, just like a job, you got to be professional about it. Part of being professional about it is like for example, we've got on the Zoom calls because I know I only had a limited amount. I wrote down the questions I had for Nehemiah. I mean, that kind of deliberate effort, I think, is what's required to be an effective trader. And you're absolutely right. This is only the beginning. Like I'm looking at this 10 years down, and I hope to bank for my trading success like six figures in 2022. Like that's like to my bank, because the cool thing about prop trading is you can act for another $600. It isn't that much money, especially when you're making 1,000 a week. You can literally stack on another $100,000 instantly, and so then you're at 200,000. I think you can up to three, and then there's other prop firms I'm already looking into. Basically, I have my plan and I'm sticking to it. And now I've taken into account the time it takes to really get good at this, because I'm trying to be professional about it.
Dude, brother, I love that. Absolutely love that. Keep crushing it, man. And dude, I have nothing but love for you, man. Like, you know,
Likewise, likewise.
nothing but love for you, man. And I really appreciate you taking the time out to do this testimonial.
Well, thank you so much, Nehemiah. Thank you so much, Nemo. This has been awesome.